I'm joined now by Mark Gibson, who is Director of Product Management at Amdocs. Mark, what are the key components that are needed in the OSS layer to support NFV turnup?
So if you're going to support NFV turnup, the real promise of NFV is short timelines, short turnup times, flexible service delivery. If you really want to get to that, then and you think about what it takes to turn up a service today, you generally have months to weeks lead time from pressing the order at a customer to the order actually going live. And so if you want to really realise that value, you want to reduce that time up front down to as short as you can make it. So really the components that you want to get to are those which orchestrate away that process. And it kind of depends how you want to solve that, but by the conditions you find at the service provider. So you want to put an orchestration layer through the existing components, which automates as much as you can the turnup of that service, and you want to be able to design what that service looks like up front as well. So you want to be able to kind of do rapid prototyping. You want to have defined your service chains up front. You really want to understand what you're going to turn up, and then at the turn up time, make that as simple as possible.
You said that it depends what you find at particular service providers. I take it then there's different approaches and strategies adopted by each different provider?
So by that I mean that when you turn up at a service provider, so I can think of one on the top of my head who had 160 separate OSS systems, which is the extreme end. But you can see typical providers with 20 or 30 existing components in their order to fulfillment process, which you need to streamline, rationalise, cherry pick what you need to keep, and the rest need to go away. So turning up NFV is as much about streamlining the back office process as it is about the NFV itself.
So it's not just a case of let's sign a contract for NFV solution, virtualizing these network functions. We have to consider a lot more. We've got to consider this back end.
Yeah. You need to. The promise of NFV is rapid, flexible, agile service delivery, and if you've still got a week's lead time to that rapid, it sort of kills it stone dead. So if you're really going to deliver on that promise to your customers, then you absolutely have to shrink that time at the front as far as you can.
Does designing services up front help in this process?
Yeah, it absolutely does. I mean, it allows you to. The first thing it allows you to do is to prototype what you're going to build. So if you think of a typical operator, they'll have 20, 30, 40 different components that they could include in the service for as part of their offering. You really want to know before you turn that up that it's going to work. You want to be sure that that the permutation works, that it knits together, that your service chain is accurately defined, and that you understand what you have to turn up in the physical network to support that. So allowing yourself to design it up front allows you to prototype it, allows you to have it ready, so that when you want to turn it up, you can just press the button and go, and then you start to end up with processes which are fully baked, not kind of invented on the fly.
And can you build on that? Can you sort of reuse elements if you take that approach?
Yeah. So kind of underpinning that and underpinning the Amdocs approach here is that you put all of that into a central catalog. So each time you build a component or an instance of a component, so maybe you take a firewall component and you tweak it one way for one customer. If you can reuse that in another customer's offer, then you can pull it out of the catalog and reuse it, and you kind of know it's there. So you've got this kind of storage facility, if you like, of the things that you've already built, which then become your Lego bricks for building new services. So your service instance might contain 20 or 30 things which you've already built for other service instances, but it's bespoke to that customer. And again, the NFV promise is I'm going to be bespoke, I'm going to meet your exact customer requirement, and now you can start to do that with these reusable components.
So how is achieving operational NFV reliant on kind of combining and knitting together these end-to-end components within the service provider?
Again, it comes down to the process and the time it takes you from button push to having it live. So if your processes aren't well understood, if you've got a really efficient NFV stack, but it's allied to an outmoded OSS, which is where you're still having to do manual civil chain. I mean, we talk to a lot of operators, and the number of times you run into a process where somebody's cutting and pasting out of a Visio document to put into a fulfillment flow, because that's where the design lives, in a Visio document. You kind of see that this isn't NFV ready. So you really need to have automated that away, to have made it either a fully automatic process, or as there's little user interaction as is needed to make the correct selections, and then go and turn it up. So yeah, it's absolutely critical.
And when we look at NFV, we're not looking at greenfield sites, are we? We're all legacy we've got to work with, and we end up with hybrid networks.
No, exactly. And there's a question asked today about is it revolution or evolution? And I think in nearly all cases, your first deployment is going to be an evolution. It's going to be an existing business case that you can explain to your senior staff, to your VP level. I mean, virtual CPE is the most common example, which has been talked about for 2 or 3 years. It still hasn't happened because the operationalising of it needs all of this back end to be in place. So yeah, it's important.
Excellent, Mark. Thank you very much.
No problem.